If you'd told me a decade ago that I'd be playing multiple new, high-quality, fixed-camera survival horror games every year, I would have called you crazy. But that's where we find ourselves. Echoes of the Living just hit early access. I won't be covering it yet, I prefer to let it evolve and give some feedback behind the scenes. The Mute House turned out to be a new favorite that I can't recommend highly enough. And let's not forget about Heartworm, one of the most ambitious survival horror titles in recent memory. We had Crow Country, Tormented Souls, Signalis, and now we have Flesh Made Fear, another fixed camera, tank control, puzzle solving, resource gathering, inventory management, map exploration, Resident Evil clone essentially. I'm sure the director wouldn't mind the comparison. He invites it openly with the STARS uniforms as alternate costumes. The male character has more health but fewer inventory spaces, and the girl has less health and more inventory space, just like Jill and Chris. There's a guy in a cop uniform with a bandage in the exact fashion as Leon from Resident Evil 2. You're making bullets from gunpowder like RE3. It's a Resident Evil clone, proudly, and I'm here for it. But of course there is plenty that makes Flesh Made Fear its own game. It has a distinct grungy PS1 era graphic style and over-the-top arcadey explosive gore that's in no way going for realism. The maps are covered in flesh, monsters will gross you out with rotting flesh, acidic explosions, vomit, and even shit. Outside areas are far less horrific. The purple tone to the night sky and rolling fog down the streets creates a dreamlike feeling. And this game's style of fixed camera is markedly different from what many other games of the genre do. It's far more pulled back, complementing the open spaces and streets in the more Silent Hill structured map. Many times Dutch camera angles are used for dramatic effect, far too many in my opinion to where it spoils the effect. When you're not in the streets, you're in the darkness, and it's the kind of darkness where literally everything not illuminated by your flashlight is just solid black. I'm personally not a fan of it. You might think it's just like Silent Hill, but it's really not. Those games are dark, but you still get some level of visibility in the darkness. It's not just better functionally, it makes the games look better overall. Flesh Made Fear having crude, gross visuals and covering 50 to 80% of the screen in solid black just doesn't lead to a visually engaging experience. To be fair, the darkness does start to get better once you're past the initial parts of the map. Most of the police station looks fine, as does the school, but it is still a pervasive issue that distracted me more than it spooked me. Leaving some of the visual issues aside and getting to the gameplay, the majority of puzzles are 4-line riddles determining the order of switches, which are a staple of the genre, but tend to feel overused here. Same goes for the twisty-turny medallions used to open doors. They're cool, but by the third one you're hoping for something else. But even though the puzzles get repetitive and the boss fights are all just running away and shooting, the game is pretty short, so it's not that big of a deal. You'll probably finish your first run in 3 to 4 hours. There's a normal and hard difficulty and 2 characters to play, even though their campaigns feel essentially the same. Every survival horror game has its thing that shines the brightest, and for Flesh Made Fear, what I actually like the most is the ammo management and strategic kills and combat avoidance. We commonly talk about one of the pillars of survival horror being the flight or fight decisions you make as you're holding onto resources. Many games get this balance wrong because it's the hardest thing to do right. Flesh Made Fear is one of the best in this regard. The dodging move initially feels very strange, lunging you forward instead of backwards like you'd expect from playing Tormented Souls. But this dodge is intended for use in running, weaving between enemies and escaping their slashes. Crawlers are charging up a leap attack to catch you from running away, and you're quickly slipping by a group of 10 zombies trying to box you in. You cannot kill all these enemies like you could in a Resident Evil game. You just don't have the ammo, and it's incredibly refreshing to see a survival horror game actually emphasize combat avoidance. It is absolutely designed for you to take advantage of your knives. They are fast, powerful, and they push you forward significantly. You can use them to push an enemy out of the way and create an opening to flee. You can single out an enemy and take them down using no ammo pretty safely. You can switch to the knives during a boss exhaustion state and get a bunch of free damage. And what balances the knives is how the game throws hordes at you. Knives are terrible against groups. Taking damage is a real problem when on hard mode because you receive far fewer healing items. And of course there are no checkpoints, hard saves only, so you lose progress when you die. If you play on hard and just kill everything you see for the first half hour, you're gonna learn real quick that you're fucked going forward. They put a boss fight early that sends a clear message: you are going to need to save ammo in this game. I love this way of handling it. They could have easily put a warning: make sure you avoid enemies when possible and save your ammo for boss fights or else you'll get stuck. Instead, they just teach you the lesson through gameplay, and you can restart and repeat the opening with a better mentality if you didn't know that's how the genre works when you started. Knowing that you need to be careful with ammo and avoid combat when possible leads to very fun multi-weapon combat moments similar to what you'd see in the Resident Evil remakes. My first and second playthrough had several moments where I was limping around close to death because I had no bandages and I'd spent too much ammo getting myself out of a bad situation. I think most veterans are gonna be happy with hard mode. It's not as punishing as something like Conscript, but it's good, and it could definitely use an extreme mode added later. It's not a super replayable game, but a higher difficulty and some modifiers would be really fun. To wrap up, there are a couple of control issues I'd like to bring up at the chance that the director is watching. If you hold run while you 180 spin, you can start running immediately after, but if you 180 spin first and then press run, if you press it too quickly, the game will ignore the input and your character will only walk and never start running. In a game where it's easy to panic and you press the buttons quickly, you really need to make sure that this fast series of inputs is not causing the run command to fail. Also, when you 180 spin and aim and fire quickly, there's a good chance that your shot will not hit the target in front of you. I'm not sure if it's a bug or if the bullet is firing before the aiming animation is finished. You may want to make sure the gun isn't going off before finishing the aim. And hey, I don't need the game's title thrown in my face every time I pick up an item or enter the inventory. We get it, the game's called Flesh Made Fear. Let's tone it down a bit. So yeah, Flesh Made Fear is a cool game. It's not too expensive, it's compact and doesn't overstay its welcome. It's got enough going for it to scratch your survival horror itch. And it's especially good at the combat avoidance aspect of this genre we love so much. Oh yeah, and it has a story about a guy doing experiments or whatever. There's a lot of notes to read, you know I love that. Okay, bye!